All right, let's get into it. This is gonna suck even more than last night's game. This one sucked. Okay, where to start? The San Diego Padres have lost yet again to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I believe that puts them a full game behind the Dodgers in the NL West. They were a game ahead of the Dodgers in the NL West to start the series yesterday. They have lost now 2 consecutive games to the Dodgers. And the Padres offense has just completely fallen flat on its face. The pitching was not much better today. The fielding was not much better today. We're gonna get into it. I do see that there are already Dodger fans here and watching and commenting. That's fun. I'm not gonna fight with anyone tonight. Like I honestly think that this post game show thing is probably gonna last like 10 minutes tonight. Not because I don't have the energy to do it. I do, even though it's been a long day. I just I don't know what to say about this game. I don't know if Darren Smith's going to drop by or not. He has the ability to do so. Should he want to? Should he have the desire to? He knows how to get in here, but I'm not holding him to it. And I imagine he didn't make any promises like me to do post game shows after each one of these. And I imagine he's kind of in a similar boat to me in that, like, what's there really to say about this game? Dylan Cease, that that is why I'm afraid of Dylan Cease pitching in a playoff game. Not that tonight felt like a playoff atmosphere. Once again, the fans, the crowd seemed dead. The Padres had absolutely no energy whatsoever from pitch one all the way to the end of the game. It's almost like a lack of fight in them, a lack of spirit. It's very weird, considering what we've seen from them in the past, especially against the Dodgers, especially in Dodger Stadium. Uh, but Dylan Cease was so bad, so bad. I need to go back to the play-by-play so I can kind of walk through that first inning again because it was so bad. This is how he started the game. He walked Shohei Ohtani. He walked Mookie Betts. He walked Will Smith. The first 3 batters of the game, the first 3 batters that he saw, he walked. And ended that inning down 3-0. In the second inning, hoping for a better result, he walked Ohtani again. He walked Will Smith again. And then there was I'm not going to call it fly out. There was a hit to deep center field that Jackson Merrill dropped. And am I going to hold Jackson Merrill's feet to the fire here and be like, wow, he really screwed that up? No, like that was he was in a difficult situation to make that play. B, I think he got spooked by how close Tatis was to him and whether or not Tatis was going to get the ball. And after 2 innings, the Padres are down 5-0, and I don't know what's happened to this offense. I don't. I understand the Dodgers are not the Giants, but coming in, the concern with the Dodgers was their bullpen is terrible. And their bullpen is having absolutely no problem shutting down the San Diego Padres for the last few innings of last night's game, last 3 innings of last night's game, and the last 3 innings of tonight's game. No runs. I think the Padres did score a run against the bullpen last night, but it wasn't nearly enough, and it doesn't look like the Dodgers bullpen is terrible. It looks like the Padres offense has somehow climbed back into whatever shell it was in a few weeks ago, if not over a month ago. Fernando Tatis Jr. went 2 for 3 with a walk. That's a good box score line. It didn't seem like he was impactful in any way, shape, or form. The first inning was just like a bad sign for what was to come, or maybe it was just a harbinger of doom. But Fernando Tatis Jr. hits a single and then gets caught stealing second base. And I asked Aaron the other day, we talked about this the other day about Fernando Tatis Jr.'s not nearly stealing as many bases as he was before. And when he keeps getting caught. He got caught stealing. Why? I don't know. Like, maybe he was a late jump. Maybe he was slow. That's not something that I think I would be able to tell just by looking at it. But he gets caught stealing. That's how you start the game. Single caught stealing. Fine. Arise hits a ground rule double. Machado reaches on an infield single. And then Machado gets caught stealing second. And then later, I think it was in the second inning, Xander Bogaerts gets caught stealing second. So Will Smith, in the first 2 innings, shuts down 3 guys, turns 3 guys that would be in scoring position into outs. Was it too aggressive on the base pass? I don't know. Maybe. In retrospect, it looks like it. But if it had worked, we'd be calling Mike Schilt a genius, right? So, I don't know. It just seemed like one of those games, kind of like last night, where if Luis Rise had a better hitting game, if Manny Machado had a better hitting game, if Xander Bogaerts had a better hitting game, if Jackson Merrill had a better hitting game, things would have gone better for the Padres offense. Once again, Ryan O'Hearn almost can't get into this lineup. He did finally get in, I think, in the 8th inning today. It was the 9th inning yesterday, but once again, Jose Iglesias as this team's DH, the guy who was signed to be the utility infielder known for his good glove, is just the team's DH every time they face a left-handed pitcher. I'm utterly frustrated by that. And then Freddie Fermin, I know yesterday I said I was concerned that after he ran chest first into that barrier trying to catch that pop fly, I was worried he was going to miss this game. He didn't miss this game. He played this entire game. But you know what? His at-bats were pretty bad. He was out on the first pitch, and at least 2 of them, they were just kind of non-competitive at-bats. Manny was just kind of nowhere near the ball on some of these swings. I don't know. I don't know what the heck is going on. You know, Buddy Black would just say, hey, man, that's baseball. That stuff happens. And I guess in some ways he's right. Neil asked, is O'Hearn that bad against lefties? You know what? Let's look it up because I know I've looked this up before. And I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. But I haven't looked it up recently. Let's just go to this year. Ryan O'Hearn this year. Against right-handed pitching, he's got an OPS of 831. Against left-handed pitching, he's got an OPS of 777. No, that's not that bad. The thing is, I think Iglesias actually does hit lefties really well. I think this is one of those things where like the stats say something different than the eye test. Let's see, against left-handed pitching, Iglesias OPS is 764. I mean, that's good, but that's lower than O'Hearn's OPS against left-handed pitching. I don't understand why Ryan O'Hearn can't get in this lineup. Made sense for a second. Doesn't anymore. Darren's busy cooking dinner. We'll see if he shows up or not. So yeah, I don't understand what's going on with the Ryan O'Hearn situation. Freddie Fermin, to me, I don't know. Maybe it was just an off game. Jake Cronenworth looked really bad. It's a team that, for whatever reason, they just can't hit left-handed pitching. They can't do it. And this is a team that for years, because of Tatis and Machado, could destroy left-handed pitching. The reason why Clayton Kershaw's record against the Padres the last 2 years has been so bad is because Tatis and Machado have punished that man. And yet they're throwing lefties out there. And Machado and Tatis look terrible. And Rise looks overwhelmed. And Bogaerts, for some reason, just can't make good contact. Cronenworth is striking out all the time. Like, the Padres' Achilles heel right now, for better or worse, I'm assuming worse, but you got to have an Achilles heel somewhere. No one's perfect. Is that they just can't hit left-handed pitching. And unfortunately, the Dodgers were able to throw 2 very good left-handed starters at the Padres in the last 2 games. Do I think the Padres will hit better tomorrow in an afternoon game at Dodger Stadium against a right-handed pitcher? I do. I also think this is a little bit of a, prove yourself moment, prove yourself game, because these first two games, like I am probably going to chalk it up to they really struggle against left-handed pitching. And that's a problem, but that's not a problem you can necessarily do anything about right this second. But you could also chalk it up to like the mental thing and just be like they are just pushing too hard, trying too hard, too freaked out. Like Dylan Cease looked legitimately freaked out the first couple innings of that game. It wasn't just like a couple of bad things happened and he was trying to muscle his way through it. Like he was like, "Oh no, it's happening. That thing that I was afraid of is happening." So I don't know. To this guy saying Arise should be benched. People have been saying that all year for one reason or the other, and Arise plays at first base every single game. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's Glasnow tomorrow, right? Glasnow's a righty. I have that right. If he's a lefty, I'm gonna be mad, but I'm pretty sure he throws righty. He does. He throws righty. So Glasnow tomorrow, I think. Oh, Darren said he's gonna pop on for a couple minutes. We'll do that when he shows up. But yeah, just a really disappointing couple of games that you can say, you know, the Padres are freaked out. They're in their own head. They're trying too hard. The Dodgers are a big reminder to them about how, you know, much they failed in the playoffs last year. Maybe Darren will come on and talk about that. Or you can just say they're really bad against lefties. I don't know. D. Smith, what's up?
I've literally had my grill on, about to put a piece of yellowfin tuna on the grill.
Okay.
Kind of got lost with the timing by the end of the game because I actually, people say, well, I got something better to do than this. Like I literally had something better to do, which is prepare for the San Jose game. So
Yeah.
I just stopped and said, I don't need to torture myself and watch this anymore. What a letdown. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Like, what a letdown these two games are. I can admit I was totally wrong about the series because I thought the Padres would go in there and have a full tank of gas and look like they were just ready to do whatever it was, like just ready to rock. And it's been the complete opposite. Just been the complete opposite. So I'm more than willing to give credit. This is a team that wins the division every single season. You want to give credit to crafty Clayton Kershaw and Blake Snell, who could figure some things out, and their defense throwing a couple of would-be base stealers out in the first inning of the game. That's fine, but just weird things. I've never seen, yesterday, Manny Machado's defense. Today, Jackson Merrill. 2 runners thrown out in the first inning. Dylan Cease, who, I know not everybody trusts, but he gave you more reasons not to trust him. Yeah, just a little bit of a very bizarro, cursed kind of couple of days at Dodger Stadium. So, hey, credit to them. Now they have the tiebreaker too. So, this can't end in a tie. So anytime, even if the Padres win tomorrow, you go, oh, okay, well, they're tied in the NL West. You're not, because the Dodgers now do have that tiebreaker advantage due to the head-to-head. So, what is that? 2 wins in 9 tries, is it? 2 and 7, I think. 2 and 8, something like that. So, listen, very disappointing. Not the way I thought it was going to go. I can deal with losing, John, but I just can't deal with pissing down your leg and making a mess all over the field at Dodger Stadium. And that's what it's felt like to me.
Yeah, right before you hopped on, I was saying, if I was being charitable, if I was trying to be charitable, if I was AJ Cassavell and I was trying to put a makeup on a pig here, because I feel sometimes that's the job that they hand to him. I could make an argument that this is identifying an Achilles heel, that the Padres really struggle against left-handed pitching, and that this happened to look really bad because Kershaw and Snell in back-to-back games, and for whatever reason, Tatis has been really bad against lefties all year. We know Arise struggles against lefties. Merrill obviously not as good against lefties. So the first, 3 of the 4 first batters in your lineup are guys who are really going to struggle against left-handed hitting, and then Schilt just has no idea what to do with the DH spot when there's a lefty pitcher on the mound. You could be charitable and just say that they struggled because it's left-handed pitching, and we'll see a different team tomorrow in the afternoon against right-handed Tyler Glass. Now, do you buy that at all, or do you think this is just the mental, like they're holding on to everything too tight and freaking out?
Well, I definitely think it's the latter. I haven't looked up the left-handed stuff. I don't know what their record is against left-handed pitching. I don't know what their splits are. I don't have that in front of me, so I wouldn't commit to that if I didn't take a quick peek at it. They've gone against back-to-back lefties, so it's something I think that should be pointed out tonight. But I haven't dug into that, so I'm not willing to commit to it. I think the thing that I've seen that's been most disappointing has just been the things that the Padres can control, to me, have been more disappointing than, I can accept that Clayton Kershaw kept the Padre hitters off balance. I can accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I still watched it, and I'm sure some of those guys went back going, what was that? Like, how did we not do better? But I'm just more disappointed with the way the Padres have come into the series. They just have looked really lifeless. It just, it just hasn't looked like the team that we saw when it left San Francisco. So maybe that off day didn't come at the right time. Maybe, I mean,
Yeah.
it just hasn't seemed like the same group that we saw when they were running over the San Francisco Giants. It just doesn't even resemble the same group, does it? It doesn't look like it. And I'm not just saying performance. Buddy Black always used to point this out. He'd be like, yeah, like when you get shut out, of course you're going to say it's a low energy kind of game. But like they just don't resemble the team that we saw that left San Francisco and enjoyed an off day in first place. So
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that group.
I know there's 162 of these, but these games against the Dodgers do matter more, right? And they should feel like they matter more. And for some reason they kind of don't. And to answer the Buddy Black question there, that wasn't a real question, was like, I think what has been really jarring to me the last 2 days is not necessarily the lack of offensive performance or the really bad at bats, or even the fact that Dylan Cease came out and was just like way too mindfucked to be a decent pitcher. Like I almost expected that. The guys don't even look frustrated. Like it would be one thing if after a bad at bat, someone's going back to the dugout and smashing I'm not saying like go smash your equipment performatively, but like they're just like, wow, good pitch. Like Manny was going up against whoever the lefty is. It's not Vesia. He pitched last night. I have this in front of me. Bonda. And Manny gets a low and inside slider. And you see he does that thing where Manny's like, wow, this is a good pitch. Like, good pitch. And then he gets the exact same pitch in the exact same spot at the exact same speed and misses it by 1.5 feet and does the exact same thing. Wow, good pitch. And it's like, at what point does it stop becoming a one-on-one matchup against you and the pitcher? At what point do you start getting frustrated that you're getting embarrassed, that the entire baseball world is staring at you and all you're doing is missing Anthony Bonda's slider by 1.5 feet? I need something from them to tell me that they care when they're not winning, when things aren't going well. And it doesn't need to be performative, whatever, but like, even if Cease was just like, fuck, man. Like, I messed that up. I messed up that inning. And there's none of that. He's just, all right, I'll trot off, trot back on, throw my pitches. And this is the thing where people say stupid things, and I'm trying really hard not to. But when you feel like you're watching a team and you care more about how embarrassed they're getting than they seem to, that's when you start saying stupid stuff and thinking stupid stuff. Like, these guys care. They care. They want to win. They would give anything to win these games. I'm happy you're here, and I just want you for like 2 more minutes, and then I'm gonna get out of here and you can go make your fish. You said at the very beginning of the season, you're very interested to see how the Padres bounce back from the Dodgers in the back of their head. What was the Manny quote? The like, we have to prove something. What was that? Do you remember that quote?
The one that they run on television all the time.
I think so.
Yeah, something like that. Like, how could we forget? They're all reading scripts, though,
Right.
right? How could we
Right.
forget? It brought us closer together.
But like, do you think that the playoff series from last year and all those innings in a row where they just got embarrassed by this pitching staff is like living in the back of their head a little bit?
Maybe.
It didn't seem like it was a couple months ago, but it feels like it is now for whatever
Well, a
reason.
couple months ago, it didn't really matter, though, did it?
Because it
Yeah,
wasn't
you
for
could say
first
it
place.
matters and they all matter and all that sort of stuff. And it's the Dodgers and you should always be up for it. But, this was billed as a competition for first place, which really wasn't how either of the two previous series were billed. So, the fact that the stakes felt a lot higher in this series, didn't they? I think they did. And it wasn't just a regular series where you're throwing baseballs at one another and you can get in a fight and all that sort of stuff. It does feel like it had a little bit more juice to this series, doesn't it? I think it did. So, there's a reason why we're doing post-game shows. We didn't do this for the previous series. There's a reason why 97.3 had a watch party tonight. There's a reason why Jim Russell's sitting there on YouTube all night tonight, right? So everybody acted differently based on this series than they did any of the other previous series. So let's not pretend like it's just another one.
Yeah.
Nobody's behavior suggests that. So, again, flagship radio station, watch party, you and I are doing post-game shows. Jim Russell, sat there, poor guy, had to do some sort of YouTube watch thing. I don't know what was going on there, but it felt, you're like, yeah, okay, like this is a real opportunity to make a statement. Those guys are reeling. The Padres went all in at the trade deadline. Look at their record since July 31st, right? Like all of these things were real. So, the previous couple of series now, we weren't 40 games to go in the regular season.
Yeah.
We're really kind of late. We're late into this, and there's another game tomorrow, and there's another 3 coming up next week. But, these feel like the ones that are really the ones that are going to be the most impactful. It feels like we're in the late innings of this thing. Speaking about the season. So, do I think so? Yeah. Like I'd be walking into that building tonight being like, man, what the fuck? Like what do we have to do? Is it just one of those, well, if we get to see him in the postseason, I went into the weekend sitting there on Friday at Bottle Rocket thinking, I think going for a division title, like when are you going to get this kind of opportunity to go after this team and to really make a statement for a division title, which I will contend again, and I will remain of the opinion that it matters. Division titles matter.
I agree.
Should matter. We've talked about this,
Mm-hmm.
and instead what we've gotten here is a team that's just, again, it's not the same team that we saw Wednesday, right? So, I do think there is a little bit of that. I do think that maybe like we talked about last night with O'Hearn and the pinch hitting thing and the bunting thing. Like the bunting thing just like it still is bothering me. And the stolen bases and the errors and like can't throw a strike and 6 walks in a game and 6 walks by a starting, like these are there are things that you could say, well, that were just really bizarre and out of character over the last couple of days. And the only thing you can think of is, that this was a just the same way it was when you had the Dodgers pinned last year. You were up 2-1, and then you couldn't figure out a way to hit over the next couple of days. Well, now you're ahead in first place in the NL West, and it does not look like the same team that we've seen. I grant you could go have a bad series against the Colorado Rockies.
Right.
It might be one of the worst teams in all of baseball, but there's going to be more of an emphasis and there's going to be more of a bright light put on a series like this because of the circumstances. And I'm not going to blame anybody for thinking, well, this isn't just circumstantial and, these sort of things happen. And what are you going to do? It does very much feel to me like, this is like, these are ghosts now that are somewhat impacted. I mean, come on, man, what's going on with that Jackson Merrill thing? Everybody loves Jackson. Nobody's going to sit here and crucify the poor guy, but when have you ever seen that? The play with Manny yesterday when things are going well, In San Francisco, Manny makes that play. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. So you roll the dice when you're the manager. You do certain things. You try to steal bases. You're safe. This series though, like it's all coming up Dodgers. And everybody sat around and we all wasted a whole bunch of time being like, oh, what's Dave Roberts going to do? Turns out he doesn't have to do anything. I will say the Dylan Hernandez tweet that, I know that I sent you and I posted on the Discord channel. Instead of improving their team at the deadline, the Dodgers decided to count on the Padres self-destructing again. The plan is working. I can't argue that. Now they have an opportunity tomorrow with Darvish. And, I love watching Darvish. I don't know what you're going to do next week when you have to see this team again. But it just does. Like I can't say that all these things that are happening here are just coincidental. It just feels like it's something mentally that is preventing them from looking like the team that we have seen over the last, close to 20 games.
Yeah. And by the way, to the point that I was making earlier, everything you said is true. But to the point that I was making earlier, which I do think is a good point, even though like I was looking up their stats against lefties are not that different than their stats against righties. Like overall, their OPS against left-handed pitching is 687. Their OPS against right-handed pitching is 712. It's not a huge difference. But the guys who were supposed to really hammer that left-handed pitching are Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, and whoever your DH is. I looked this up before you came on because I was getting frustrated because once again, Ryan O'Hearn can't get in the lineup until the lefty.
Just another Hail Mary at the end of the game.
until the lefty comes out of the game, and then he comes in for Iglesias. And you know what, Darren? Ryan O'Hearn this year has a higher OPS against left-handed pitching than Jose Iglesias. There's almost no reason, no argument you can make that the right-handed Jose Iglesias should be taking these at-bats as a DH. And really, if that's your answer to a left-handed pitcher, putting Jose Iglesias in the lineup, then he's one of those guys, along with Tatis and Machado and Bogarts, that has to hammer the left-handed pitching. And he's not doing it because that's not who he is. That's not what he does, despite the one home run he hit like last week in San Francisco. So I don't know. I do think it's going to look a lot better against right-handed pitchers, but I think we're identifying maybe two Achilles heels here. One is they really start pressing when it comes to a major game or series, especially against the Dodgers. And B, they really struggle against left-handed pitching right now. And part of that is because Tatis just doesn't have the ability to like punish them the way he used to.
Yeah, I mean the margins when you're facing a team like this, the margins are smaller, and you can't afford to run yourself out of innings. You can't afford to just give them runs. You can't afford to give them extra outs. Those are the hallmarks of teams. Even when you're facing guys who you think, well, he could be got here. When you're facing a group like that, you can't give things away.
Yeah.
And again, I'm more than comfortable saying that I think, the Dodgers at 70 and 53, having won all these division titles over the last decade and a half, I'm certainly not suggesting to you that they are doing it with smoke and mirrors, but the Padres are complicit in this. And that's been the most frustrating thing about the series. I can handle losing like a man. Everybody can.
But don't give it away.
When you're just giving these things away, you're just giving out extra outs and you're just giving them extra outs. It's not going to work against this team. Just not going to do it. So, ain't going to happen, especially when it's in the back of everybody's minds. That Dylan Hernandez thing, by the way, Dylan is a really snarky asshole. I say that as a friend of his.
Yeah.
But like he could be a really snarky asshole, but there is a little bit of truth to that there is that thought. There is that thought. Like there is that, and Dylan's around the Dodgers, and I'm sure the Dodgers are probably going, they'd never say anything like this publicly, but they're probably sitting around going, they'll probably just figure out a way to give it to us.
What's funny about that?
And that's the real problem. Like it's so cliche, and I got to go because I can smell my grill.
Okay.
But you have got to, in boxing, you have got to beat the champ. You have to knock the champ out.
Yeah, you can't win on a technicality.
No, you're not going to win on points. It just doesn't work. And it's the same thing with these guys. You just can't think like, well, like you got to take it. Like I don't know. I think everything about their demeanor is just really stunk over the last couple of days, and hopefully it changes tomorrow.
Yeah, it has to. Hell, man, throw at someone, do something. I don't care. All right, Darren, go cook your fish.
Thank you, Ben. Hey, by the way,
Yeah.
SDFC tomorrow. Remember, we still have one first place team in town.
We still have one first place team in town. Go SDFC.
And Philadelphia lost. So, maybe an opportunity to slide ahead of Philadelphia for the Supporter Shield. 3:30 pregame show, San Diego Sports 760.
And it's a road game, so you won't be on the app. So I'll have to sync
away
up
game. Five consecutive away wins for SDFC.
I'll have to sync up my app and my TV, but I'll do it for you, Darren.
Thank you. I appreciate you.